My sister posted a video of dad mocking my career. I'd been paying their bills for years. I cut them off that night. Hey, I'm not sure if I'm looking for advice or just need to let off some steam, but let's see where this goes. I'm Alex, 27, and I've been working full-time as a streamer for the last few years. I don't really bring it up with my family because they just don't get what I do, and honestly, I kind of like it that way. Here's the kicker: I make good money, enough to live comfortably, invest, and until recently, support my family financially. Growing up, money was always tight. My dad, let's call him Greg, worked a regular office job and always complained that real jobs didn't pay enough. My mom was a stay-at-home mom, and my younger sister Emily is still figuring things out. No big deal, but what happened the other night was pretty wild. Ever since I started making decent money, my dad's been acting weird. He's never really acknowledged my success, hasn't asked how I make a living, and hasn't treated me like an adult who's actually doing well for myself, and for them. Instead, he makes it seem like I'm some slacker who refuses to get a real job. It used to be just eye-roll-worthy comments like, "Oh, playing video games all day must be exhausting," or "When are you going to do something productive?" But things took a turn for the worse. Last weekend, I went over to my parents' house for a family game night. We don't do them often, but my mom sometimes insists on some family time, so I go along with it. I thought it'd be a few rounds of Uno, some light bickering, and if I was lucky, a nice home-cooked meal. Instead, it ended up being a night full of little digs at me. It started with my dad joking about how I sleep in all day. I don't, I just work late. Then Emily chipped in about how I never really grew up. Eventually, my mom started reminiscing about how I used to have such big dreams, as if I've let her down. I tried to brush it off since I've dealt with this for years, and I thought I was over it. But what I didn't know was that Emily had been recording bits of the night on her phone, and a couple of days later, she posted the video online. I was just scrolling through Instagram, not even looking for it, when I saw a notification that she posted a story. I clicked on it without a second thought, and there it was, a shaky, low-quality video of my dad saying, "I swear Alex has the easiest life playing games and chatting with nerds all day, yet somehow pays rent. He could be homeless in a year and not see it coming." And everyone laughed, my sisters, my mom, even my uncle in the background. I swiped through more clips, all more of the same. My dad ranting about how I think I'm some big-shot businessman while my mom joked I should use my computer science degree to get a real job. Emily was filming like it was all some hilarious behind-the-scenes moment, even turning the camera on herself to whisper, snickering, "This is why he never brings a girlfriend home." I knew they didn't take my job seriously, but hearing them actually mock me when they thought I wasn't listening hit different. I've helped them a lot over the years, like covering bills, paying off my mom's surgery costs, even helping Emily when she was short on rent. And there they were, laughing at me like I was some joke. I closed Instagram and just stared at my phone, feeling something shift inside me. If that's how they really saw me, maybe it's time to stop bailing them out. At first, I thought maybe I was overreacting, maybe they were just joking, or maybe this was family banter gone wrong. But the more I thought about it, the more I realized it wasn't just one offhand joke, this was actual contempt. A group of people I've been supporting without them even realizing it, sitting around, laughing at how pathetic they think I am. And the worst part? They meant it. You can tell when someone's joking, there's a vibe, something light and affectionate, but this wasn't that. So, there was this video, right? Not exactly cheerful. It was basically my dad confidently ripping me apart like it was the most natural thing ever. And my sister? She thought it was hilarious enough to record. My mom jumped in too, but not to defend me. Nope, she added her bit to the roast. I felt this tightness in my chest, this simmering heat, not quite full-on rage, but getting there. I wanted to shoot Emily a text right away and demand what she was thinking, but I held back. Instead, I opened my banking app and glanced through my transactions. There it was, $1,500 for my parents' rent, $600 for the last part of Emily's car payment, $3,200 for my dad's forgotten credit card bill, $250 on groceries when my mom called last month, short on cash. Line after line, a quiet, condemning list of all the ways I've helped out. They'd always ask for little favors or unexpected costs they couldn't cover, and I said yes every time. I did it because they were family, despite how dismissive my dad was and the lack of respect. I convinced myself it was the right thing to do, hoping one day they'd see I wasn't just a lazy failure. But now, staring at that video and those transactions, it dawned on me, they were never going to see me any differently, not unless I made them. I took a deep breath, then another, and finally did something I should have ages ago. I opened the group chat with my parents and sister and typed, "Hey, just saw Emily's video. Didn't realize you all thought so little of me." Almost instantly, 3 little dots appeared, my mom typing, then disappearing. My sister started, then stopped. Finally, my dad replied, "Oh, you saw that? Come on, don't be so sensitive. We were just joking around." I stared at the screen. "Joking, huh?" Before I could reply, Emily chimed in, "Yeah, it wasn't serious lol. You know how dad gets after a few drinks." The heat in my chest flared a bit hotter. Funny, I didn't remember it being a joke when they needed money for rent last month. Another pause, longer this time. Then, "Dude, seriously, you're mad over a stupid video?" I clenched my jaw. This wasn't just about the video. It was years of disrespect, years of being treated like a joke, even while I was ensuring they could pay rent, keep the lights on, buy groceries. And they still didn't get it. So, I typed one last message, "I'll make this simple. If you think my job is so embarrassing, don't worry about it anymore. Don't ask me for another cent." Then before they could respond, I muted the chat, and for the first time in years, I felt something like relief. Of course, I knew it wasn't over, not by a long shot. If I knew anything about my dad, it was that he didn't handle losing control well, and I'd just taken away his favorite safety net. I sensed the real fallout was about to start. The first few hours after muting the chat were eerily quiet, no messages, no frantic apologies, no attempts to argue. For a brief, stupid moment, I thought maybe they got the message. Maybe they finally understood. Then around 9 p.m., my phone lit up. "Dad calling." I let it ring. A minute later, a text, "Pick up the damn phone." Then another, "Don't act like a child over a joke." And another, "You really think you're going to cut us off over this? Grow up, Alex." There it was, that familiar tone, a mix of anger and entitlement, as if I was the unreasonable one for finally setting boundaries. I ignored him. 2 minutes later, Emily texted, "Dude, you're being so dramatic. Dad's pissed. Just talk to him. It wasn't even that serious." I didn't respond. Then my mom, "Alex, honey, please don't do this. You know your father didn't mean any harm." That one stung more than it should have. Not because I believed her, but because it was so automatic, so predictable. She always did this, minimized his behavior, smoothed things over just enough to keep the peace. I could almost hear her voice in my head, "You know how he is, Alex. Just let it go." But I was done letting it go. Done playing along. So, I put my phone on Do Not Disturb, shut my laptop, and went live. It was a good stream, too, pulled solid numbers, had a great game, even got a couple of big donations from some regulars. And the whole time, I kept thinking, this is my real life, not them. This. I should have felt free, and in a way, I did. I knew my dad well enough to realize he wasn't just going to let this slide. I crashed around 3 a.m., absolutely wiped out, and when I woke up the next morning, the first thing I saw was my phone buzzing with notifications, 16 missed calls. 8 from Dad, 4 from Mom, 2 from Emily, and a couple from a number I didn't recognize. But the one that really got to me was a notification from my bank app. I clicked it open, already dreading what I'd find. $600 withdrawal, $150 withdrawal, $350 withdrawal. It took a second for my brain to compute, and then it hit me like a ton of bricks. They took money from me. More specifically, my parents had just emptied our joint emergency savings account. This was the account I set up ages ago when they were struggling, back when I naively thought helping them would earn their gratitude. I barely used this account, it was just a backup, a safety net, but here they were, draining it dry. With my hands shaking, I snatched my phone and called the bank pronto. "Yeah, I need to remove someone from my account," I told the customer service rep, struggling to keep my voice steady. They started asking the usual security questions, but my mind was racing, a whirlwind of anger and disbelief. Did they seriously think they could just take my money, and I'd say nothing? While the rep worked on my request, I opened the family group chat. Ignoring the dozens of unread messages, I fired off one final text, "You just stole from me. I'm done," and then I blocked them all. No more arguments, no more justifications, no more excuses. I was done. But deep down, I knew my dad wouldn't just let it rest. People like him don't just walk away when they lose control. Sure enough, that afternoon, a loud, angry knock echoed through my apartment. Not a friendly knock but an aggressive, demanding one. Even before checking, I knew who it was. I peeked through the peephole, and there he stood, my dad, looking furious, his jaw clenched, face beet red, fists trembling at his sides. He wasn't just angry, he looked downright offended, as if I had wronged him. Another loud knock. "Alex, open the damn door," he barked, his voice as sharp and demanding as I remembered from growing up. He pounded the door again. "I know you're in there." I took a deep breath, mulling over my options. My first thought was to just ignore him, let him rage until he got bored. But knowing him, that wasn't going to happen. He'd keep at it, escalating the situation, and I didn't want my neighbors getting involved and calling the cops because my dad couldn't take no for an answer. So, I unlocked the door, and he pushed his way inside the second it was open, standing in my living room like he owned it. "What is wrong with you?" he demanded, his voice low and seething, fists clenched, his whole body tense like he was barely holding himself back. "You blocked your mother, your sister, after everything we've done for you?" I laughed, sharp and bitter. "Everything you've done for me? You stole from me," I said coldly. "Don't act surprised that I'm cutting you off." His face twisted into a sneer. "Stole from you? Don't be dramatic. That money was for the family." I clenched my fist tightly at my side. "That was my money, that I earned, that I chose to share with you when I thought you actually needed it," I replied, stepping forward, refusing to let him tower over me like he used to. "But I'm done. I'm not your damn ATM. I'm not paying your bills. I'm not bailing you out anymore." He scoffed, shaking his head. "So that's it? You're just going to turn your back on us?" Something snapped in me. "You turned your back on me," I shot back, my voice rising. "You and Emily and Mom sat there and laughed at me. So, you made fun of me, embarrassed me, and now suddenly you care because you're losing my money? Seriously?" He rolled his eyes and sighed like I was the one being unreasonable. "Geez, Alex, it was a joke. Are you really gonna throw a fit over it?" I just laughed, bitter and disbelieving. "A joke? Oh, it's always a joke when it works for you, huh? Funny how it wasn't a joke when you were taking my money. And you didn't mind my supposedly embarrassing job when it was paying your rent." Something shifted in his expression for a moment, uncertainty, maybe? But then he got angry again, stepping closer and jabbing his finger at me. "You wouldn't have that money if it wasn't for us," he snapped. "We raised you. We supported you. You wouldn't be where you are if we hadn't worked hard to feed you." I took a deep breath, shaking my head. "And I've paid you back 100 times. I took care of you, I paid your bills, gave you everything I could, and it was never enough." Looking him straight in the eye, my voice turned icy. "I'm done. You don't get to insult me, steal from me, and then act like I owe you something." For the first time since he burst in, he had no comeback, just stood there breathing hard, and his face twisted with rage, but there was something else there, realization. I think he finally got that I wasn't bluffing. Then, just when I thought he might actually leave, he smirked. "You think you're so successful, huh?" he sneered. "Think you're some big deal internet star? You really think this streaming gig is gonna last forever? That you're set for life?" He laughed bitterly. "Those people watching you online don't care. The second you're not entertaining or some younger streamer comes along, you're done. And then you'll come crawling back." I didn't say anything, just crossed my arms, waiting. "You really think that, huh?" I said, almost amused, stepping closer. "You have no idea how much money I make." That's when I saw it, a flicker of greed, curiosity, doubt. He wasn't here to argue or guilt-trip me, he thought he could still win. But he was about to learn he'd already lost. For the first time, I saw something in my dad I never thought I'd see: hesitation, doubt. He wanted to believe I was bluffing, that I was still the kid he could push around, that my success was just luck. But standing in my nice apartment, he was realizing I was doing better than him, better than all of them, and he hated it. "You think you're too good for us now?" His voice lost a bit of its edge, but he still tried to sound tough. "You think playing video games online makes you better than your family?" I sighed, shaking my head. "You don't get it. This isn't about money, it's about respect." I gestured around. "I worked my butt off for this, and instead of being proud, you laughed at me. I'm the one laughing now." His jaw clenched. "You think you'll still be laughing when this all falls apart? Because it will, and when it does, don't come crying to us." I tilted my head, studying him. "That's funny because I was about to say the same thing to you." He scoffed, but I saw that flicker of uncertainty in his eyes. I let the silence hang between us for a bit, then finally broke it. "You need me," I said, plain and simple. "Not the other way around." His face turned red, ready to throw some weak insult my way, but his phone buzzed. He checked it, and his frown got deeper. I couldn't help but grin. "That Mom, asking if you managed to change my mind yet?" His grip on the phone tightened. Bingo. I crossed my arms. Let me guess, since I cut you off, bills are piling up, right? Debts too? Mom's probably on your case because suddenly there's no cash flowing in to bail her out. And Emily? She's probably freaking out without her safety net. I let all of that sink in. How's it feel, Dad, knowing the so-called failure is the only thing keeping you from drowning? He was breathing harder, his body tense with anger, but didn't say a word because deep down, he knew I was right. I walked over to the door and opened it wide. Get out. He didn't budge, just stood there staring like he couldn't believe what was happening, like he still thought he could somehow fix things. You're making a mistake, Alex, he finally said, voice low. Family is all you've got. I held his gaze and replied, that's where you're wrong. For once, I wasn't scared of him. I didn't care what he thought, and that terrified him. He lingered for a few more seconds, maybe hoping I'd change my mind, but I just stood there, waiting. Finally, he turned and walked out. I shut the door and locked it, taking a deep breath. I wasn't angry or sad anymore. I just felt free. I stood there for a bit, enjoying the quiet. No more guilt, no more obligations, no more bending over backward for people who never really cared. It was done, and for the first time in ages, I felt like I could finally breathe. I knew they'd probably try to contact me again, maybe not today or tomorrow, but eventually, when the money dried up or things got tough. But I wasn't going to be there. After years of supporting them, hoping they'd realize my value, I realized I didn't need their approval. I was doing just fine without them, and I wasn't going to let them drag me down again. So, what do you guys think? Did I handle this right? Would you have cut them off too, or given them one last shot? Let me know, because honestly, I've never felt more certain about a decision. If you haven't yet, please subscribe. And hit the notification bell to stay updated with more crazy real-life stories happening around you.